Good morning everyone. So it's the 3rd of the 3rd, 21, and our fact of the day for today is 3 times 6 equals, and of course if we turn it round we've got 6 times 3 equals. Let's just check, shall we, and see if that's right. So we've got 3, so 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3, 4 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3, and 6 groups of 3. How many is that all together? I'm going to give you the answer. And let's just check that's the same as 6 times 3. So here we go. 6. 2 times 6, 3 times 6. Brilliant. Every single whole is covered. They equal the same amount. So now we need to think about division. How many 6s are there in the number that we found? How many 3s are there in the number that we found? How many facts of the day can you think of? Remember, you can use drawings. Triangles work quite well for 3 times tables. And I'd like them all to be true today, please. So our TLP for today is, can I find fractions of numbers and shapes? So before we go on to the task, let's just have a quick go at reminding ourselves how we show fractions of numbers. So I've got the fraction here, 3/4. We don't say 3/4, do we? We say 3/4. So I want 3/4 of my counters to be red. So how many counters do I need altogether? That's right, I need 4. And I'll put them all down on the blue side to start with. Now, I've said I would like 3/4 of my counters to be red. So my denominator is 4, but my numerator needs to be 3. I need 3 red counters. 2, 3. Are 3/4 of my counters red? That's right, they are. Well done. Okay, let's try a different one. Ooh, different one this time. 4/10. So how many counters do I need altogether this time? That's right, I need 10 counters. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I want 4/10 to be red. So I've got my 10 counters. How many do I need to be red? That's right, I need 4 of them to be red. And that will make the fraction 4/10. Just like a spelling test, 4 out of 10, if I said 4 out of 10 I got right, 4 out of 10 are red. 4/10. Right, let's see what we need to do now. Ooh, now this time I have a much smaller denominator, much smaller. I only need 3 counters this time. So I will leave the blue ones because they're already there. I'm going to keep these to one side. I might need them in a minute. So now, I can't arrange them nice and neatly like that. Maybe I'll arrange them as a triangle. This time, 2/3 of my counters should be red. So let's have a little look. Have I got the correct denominator? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I do. But my numerator, the number of counters I'm talking about, should be 2. So let's turn them over. Are 2/3 of my counters red? Yes. 2 out of 3 counters, 2 out of a set of 3 are red. I've got 2/3 red counters. And finally, back to tenths this time. Good thing I kept my counters here. So 3 isn't enough. I need 10 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my denominator is 10. So the number of counters in my set is 10. But I want 7 of them to be red. How will that look? Is it more than half or less than half? Have a think in your brain. It's 7. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7/10 are red. 7 out of 10. What would you say? Is that more than half? Yes, it is. If it was half, we would have 5. So 7/10 is greater than 5/10. So our TLP for today is, can I find fractions of shapes and numbers? And if you can find these sheets, so finding fractions, second finding fractions, and this one which is called the tenths worksheet. Okay, if you can get those, and then some coloured pens and pencils, and your normal pencil, and then you are ready to start. Now, on these sheets, it says cut these out and stick these in your book. I am absolutely fine if you would prefer just to do them on your sheet and stick the whole sheet on in your book. It's totally up to you. Now, I've just noticed a little bit of a problem. These did not photocopy properly. So it says write the number of the shaded objects as a fraction next to the picture, but they haven't got many which are shaded. These ones are clear, but the rest of them aren't. So I was just having a chat with Mrs. Willard, and we said, well, why don't we do it as a challenge for the children? They decide on the fraction of objects they'd like to colour in, and then they can write it out. So, up to you, but I think for these triangles, I can kind of see, I think the shading for this one is going to be on 4 of them, but it is totally up to you. So first job is a bit of colouring. Oh, we always like a little bit of colouring, don't we? Okay, and there's, it would be a shame not to use these sheets just because they haven't photocopied quite properly. So, I'm going to colour in 4 triangles. Now, the next question is, what fraction of my set have I coloured in? What fraction of my set have I coloured in? Remember, the set is all the triangles, and remember, all the triangles have to be the same size because otherwise it's not a fair fraction. So I think, as usual, I'm going to do my denominator first, my denominator. How many triangles have I got all together? Because that's the one we often get a little bit wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my denominator is 5. I have got 5 triangles all together in my set. Now within my set, how many are purple? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my numerator, the number of triangles I'm talking about, is 4. So I've got 4/5. Will you do 4/5 or will you do something different? How many of these shapes will you colour? And what will your fraction be? And so on. So actually, we won't all have the same answers to these. We will have something different depending on how many we've coloured in. Okay, now this one is a really clear one. So let's do this one together just to make sure that we really understand. So in my set, how many squares are they? Because they are squares, aren't they? Diamonds is not a mathematical term. So they're squares, although they've got slightly rounded corners. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the denominator, the number of squares altogether, is 7. So however many are shaded, I'm going to have those as sevenths. So how many sevenths are coloured in? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4/7 of my shape is shaded. The denominator is 7 and the numerator is 4. Okay, so when you finish this one, you have also got this one. So very, very similar. Write the number of the shaded objects as a fraction next to the picture. So you can't just count them up and write down the number. You've got to write it as a fraction. Brilliant. So again, this is very similar, just slightly larger numbers. And as an extension, draw your own shapes and write how many have been shaded. Write the fraction as a number and also in words. Oh, just to challenge yourself. And you can do that in the space here or in your books. Okay. I don't think that'll take you too long, guys. Then we've got this tenths worksheet. So here, luckily, it has shown you more clearly which parts are coloured and which parts are not. We've got 10 different fractions coloured, and we've got all the fractions from 1/10 all the way up to 10/10, which of course is another way of saying a whole, isn't it? All of the parts of the shape are shaded. Now, some of these are rectangles, some of these are circles. You've got to look really carefully and work out which fraction matches with which. Now again, it says cut them out and stick them next to them. That's absolutely fine if you want to do that, or you can just write them. So let me just pick one at random. I'm going to pick this one. Now we've got, well, we should know, but let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the denominator is definitely 10. There are 10 parts. Now, how many are shaded? What's my numerator going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/10 of this shape are shaded in, they're coloured in. And what I might do then is tick off 5/10 like this. Now, what's a different way of saying 5/10? If you want to challenge yourself, maybe you could find the equivalent fraction. If you get 5 out of 10 in a spelling test, if you have 5/10 of a packet of sweets, that's right. If you're being really smart, you can say that's the same as saying half. Half of this shape is shaded. Now you might be able to do equivalent fractions for some of these, you won't be able to do them for all of them. But if you're being really smart, you can do that as well. Okay, so those are 3 sheets to have a go at. We'll have a little look at them in our Zoom this afternoon, and I'll be really interested to see how you got on with these. So creating your own fractions of numbers and then writing it as a fraction. It will really test your understanding.